Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Fight for the Future live stream. This is kind of a different episode this week. We've been on retreat all week, so we've been, as an organization here at Fight for the Future, we've been reviewing what we've been up to, our plans for the future. So things are just a little bit different. It's not a normal interview-based episode this week, but I am very lucky to be joined by Dayton Young, who is our Director of Product here at Fight for the Future. And today we're going to be chatting a little bit about cryptocurrency. It'll be a little shorter episode. We're thinking maybe like 30 minutes. But before we start, if you like content like this, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and click the bell for notifications so you can get notified when we go live again in the future. You can also listen to this after the fact on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we also have a playlist of all the episodes on our YouTube channel here. All the links are in the description below, so you can check that out, and there's more stuff down there too. So let's jump right into it. We had a crazy week in the world of cryptocurrency, which is very, very much related to digital rights. Decentralized finance is going to be sort of the future, and it's going to bring access to things to everybody that have only been available to the financial elite in the past. But just to review some of the events, I think, right on the top of everything, there was the whole situation with Vital, and I'm probably going to say his last name wrong because to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, I've only read this guy's name, but Vitalik Buterin was given large amounts of a number of sort of meme cryptocurrencies that were in circulation and being heavily promoted. And I believe the intention of giving him these coins was to say, he has them, he's not going to dump them. He sort of forcing him to unwillingly endorse the existence of these currencies and help them hype it up, saying, Vitalik is a majority owner of these coins. Well, what he ended up doing actually, because a lot of them I think also were based in Ethereum, I think he took issue to that, and he actually ended up going onto I believe a number or a specific decentralized exchange, and he swapped a ton of these meme currencies for Ethereum, and he kind of sucked all the liquidity out of the coins and tanked their price, and ended up donating that money to COVID relief in India, which is actually kind of cool. I think the money's probably better spent there, but there's also this dynamic to consider of like there were a lot of people that were probably good people that were in good faith trying to invest in these coins that really got the rug pulled out from under them in this event. So I'm honestly not sure how to feel about it. What's your take on this, Dayton?
Assuming I have one take, like you have a lot of questions, and I think there's a lot of ways to come at it. I mean, this is the benefit and the downside of having a deregulated cryptocurrency environment, right? This is what happens when you have decentralized currencies, when you have no regulations in the space. You're going to have a lot of scam artists and scam coins being created. You're going to have people making poor decisions. Should those people's losses and their poor decisions, result in regulatory frameworks that could impact innovation and stop folks like you and me from being able to make wise decisions? Those are complicated questions to answer. I know Gary Gensler, the SEC chair, has spoken recently about the need for regulations on cryptocurrency exchanges. And I'm not sure what, everything he said is still very high level. So the devil's always in the details. Will regulating the exchanges themselves that are selling, Shiba Inu and coins like this have an impact on the ability of those scam cryptocurrencies to, not all of them are proven to be scams, but certainly some of them seem to be that way. But, what onus of responsibility will that put on cryptocurrency exchanges to do that regulation themselves? In some ways, it seems to go against the spirit of cryptocurrency, right? Because we don't want regulation. We want to be able to access coins outside of government involvement. That's power, and we've seen, as we talked about in previous podcasts, we've seen that owning cryptocurrencies and holding cryptocurrencies and trading cryptocurrencies freely can help support people when their government fiat currencies fail them. In countries like Venezuela, we've seen that it can help people who are protesting against government violence, who are having, the government retaliate against them by closing their bank accounts in places like, I believe it was Nigeria. So once we start to have greater regulation and greater regulatory structures and oversight, does it create protection for people? Of course it does. Does it also introduce the ability for government control to kind of go against the whole ideals and the value that cryptocurrency provides? Well, that's also there. One of the things that concerns me, we've talked about during the Trump administration, that there was a proposal to collect the personal information of people who are buying cryptocurrencies off of exchanges when they make large purchases or when they make a number of purchases that add up to a large amount of money. And so it seems very strange that the first regulations we're going after, the low-hanging fruit, the regulations we're imposing on cryptocurrencies, are surveillance on individuals, as opposed to making sort of regulations that protect individuals or that protect the freedom of the cryptocurrencies from government control. So right now, I'm not hopeful that regulatory structures would protect people more than it would just harm people. But I'm interested to see what Gary Gensler proposes, because I mean he's very intelligent. He knows more about cryptocurrencies than I do. He's taught classes at MIT on it, and I'm optimistic that he really is looking out for the interests of individuals, at least on some level. He's spoken, when he's talked about market manipulation, tangential here, but he's talked about GameStop and AMC and these kind of meme stocks and blowing up and market manipulation. And unlike others, he hasn't been attacking the individuals, the retail investors. He's been talking about the capacity for large institutions to use social media to manipulate opinions. Certainly, we see that with pump and dump crypto schemes all the time. And so the fact that he is concerned that individuals are getting scammed, that large institutions are preying on people, in this regulatory-free environment, I think that at the very least, his intentions in creating regulations are going to be helpful to people like you and me. Whether it's that way in practice, we'll see.
And I think it's interesting that this massive sell-off that Vitalik did it seems sort of like a protest against these currencies that I would assume he sees as delegitimizing the cryptocurrency space. But I don't know. I wish there was more focus on like cryptocurrencies with like really good fundamentals that actually do things, rather than that they're just funny, like that they're just funny jokes. So I understand the frustration that probably inspired that, but yeah, I do worry about like the political fallout of a bunch of people getting caught up in these like almost scams, because the last thing that we want, and this is just my opinion, but the last thing that we want in the cryptocurrency space is like heavy regulation, at least that would impede like the good parts of crypto, like the decentralized nature of it, the technologies that provide financial privacy, because on the other hand, like a lot of these open public blockchain currencies, if they're not utilized correctly, or if the government sort of changes their tune on them, they can become some of the most horrific financial surveillance tools that have ever existed. Yeah.
So there's lots to be worried about. I mean, you say almost scam, and I think a lot of them are scams. And I don't know if every coin is made with the intention to scam, but something like Bitcoin, people say, oh, it has, why does it have value? It's just imaginary money. But the way that I think about it is the blockchain is what provides value for Bitcoin. Because every transaction is recorded on a publicly available ledger, you can see how much energy has been used, to mine Bitcoin, which means you can see that people have been spending millions and millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to set up, mining farms, to dedicate resources towards this mining. So the price of Bitcoin in many ways reflects the actual value of fiat currency and physical and natural resources that have been put in to create this digital good. And
That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about proof of work.
yeah, yeah. And that's very, very valuable, right? Because it's saying, hey, people have invested so much in this, and these people aren't going to let it fail. These people will continue to believe in the value of this. Now you have something in comparison to that, like Dogecoin, which I think the founder claims he invented it in 2 hours, right? And it was supposed to be a meme and a joke. And why does it have value right now? It has value because a lot of people decided that if we collectively come together and pump up the price, that, hey, this artificially creates value. It doesn't really have value until you can start spending it like cash at retailers. It's big, of course, that Elon Musk said, "Hey, you can buy a Tesla with Doge," but what other companies are letting you, you spend your Dogecoin? So that's not a crack on Doge or saying that it can't be useful or valuable, but the reason it has value is right now is a little bit different than the reason Bitcoin has value. Of course, Bitcoin's price also gets pumped up, in particular by people like Elon Musk, who I think Tesla sold 10% of their Bitcoin just a couple of weeks ago, saying they wanted to do it as proof of, that cryptocurrencies can be held, in lieu of cash for businesses, and it's a liquidity test. And then a couple of weeks later, he's all of a sudden concerned about the environmental aspect of Bitcoin, which has always been there. So why is he concerned now? And him saying that, drops the price dramatically. So I think there's still definitely a bit of speculative price value built into Bitcoin. But I do think that overall, there's a much more solid foundation for why people would think this one thing has value. Whereas you look at these other meme coins and scam coins and say, well, it really does seem to be just a lot of people colluding to raise the price. And then some people are going to be left holding the bag and they're going to lose money on it. And some people are going to gain money on it. But, is this a good financial exercise for any of us? Is it healthy for the economy? Again, I don't know. But certainly when we look at what's happening in the stock market and in fiat currencies, I'm not sure that we should be saying, "Oh, well, let's use these, pump and dumps as an excuse to regulate cryptocurrencies," when we haven't even addressed similar issues with fiat currencies and other more traditional financial products.
And when it comes to like criticisms of Bitcoin's value, or questioning like, oh, where does Bitcoin, why does Bitcoin hold any value in general? I feel like a lot of the analysis that I read online, especially a lot of the like angry analysis that I read online, is very surface level, and it's not like thinking very deeply on a philosophical level about what money is anyway. I mean, if you want to get like really deep down on the philosophical part of money, like no money is real, all value is imaginary. And there are like all these technologies that run in parallel to the value of Bitcoin that also make it special, like it is a stateless, decentralized means of exchange, which we've never had before outside of like precious metals and things like that, where like no country owns gold, no country owns Bitcoin. So in that regard, it's actually quite unique from other types of money that we've ever had in the past.
I would come at it from a almost opposite angle, but I on a very similar track as you are. It's that when you look at traditional fiat currencies, I mean, the dollar used to be based on gold, right? It was the gold. It was tied to gold, the gold standard. It's called a promissory note because a dollar is
Right.
a contract. It's a promise that if you take this to the federal government, they will give you $1 worth of gold. But we untethered ourselves from the gold standard, I believe, in the Nixon administration, and we said, well, the dollar has value because we say it has value. Does that mean it's imaginary? Does that mean the value it holds is imaginary? Well, no, because the U.S. government has proven over, many decades that we will expend resources. We will go to war. We will do whatever it takes to protect the value of the dollar, to keep our machines going, to keep our society going, because it's built around this dollar. So we have seen the proof of work there in terms of the tanks on the ground, in terms of the financial destruction that we've caused, during my lifetime, that I've seen in terms of the alliances we've built, in terms of the global conglomerates that have developed during our lifetimes as well, that the United States government will do whatever it takes to protect the value of the dollar. That's the proof of work. And so I look at Bitcoin and I see something very, very similar, in that people aren't necessarily going to war for Bitcoin, but you can see in that blockchain, in that ledger, that there are many powerful people who are investing very serious resources, and they're going to continue to invest serious resources. And so the value of any sort of currency is, how much trust do you have that people who participate in this economic system are going to do what it takes to perpetuate the value of this currency? I don't see that in a lot of these meme coins. I wish I was savvy enough and smart enough to get in early and make some money and cash out and pay off my student loans. Like, of course, I'm happy for anybody who's been able to do that. More power to all those folks. But I think that's the way I frame it in my head. And so I look at different cryptocurrencies and I figure out what I want to invest in, because I don't see myself as a speculator who's trying to get rich quick. I do see myself as someone who's saying, okay, well, I think this is going to be big the rest of my life, so I want to have some of my money here. So that's how I think about these things. Not necessarily the right way to think
Work
about
analogy
it.
you're making, though, is super fascinating.
You like that?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting way to look at it.
I can't take credit for it. I think I've read a bunch of different people who say something similar, and as we talk more, it just kind of develops in the brain.
Yeah.
But that's when I've talked to other people, and it does saying that like, what gives the dollar value, it makes a light bulb go off in people's head, and they say, okay, well, I guess everything's imaginary. And once you get to that point saying, okay, well, it is imaginary, but why does the imaginary dollar have more value than other imaginary fiat currencies? And it's because we don't trust Greece to go to war to protect their currency, but we do trust America to do that.
So do you think we're going to see in reaction to Tesla dropping Bitcoin, do you think we're going to see a move to more green blockchain tech? And I also wonder how feasible it is, given the whole that concept of proof of work. I know what staking is, and I know how to do it, and I still don't fully understand why staking is like generating value compared to something like proof of work. How well do you understand staking?
Let's talk about the other thing you said before that.
Yeah. This is the thing. And please, if anybody is listening, right, and you totally get it, just please email us at team@fireforthefuture. I will get the email, and I will then fully absorb the utility of staking.
We need to do more homework on that for sure.
Oh, I definitely do. But do you think we're going to see a move to greener crypto because of Tesla dropping Bitcoin?
Yeah. Well, and not because of Tesla dropping Bitcoin. I think we talked about why Bitcoin has value, right? Because we see the people are investing resources in mining it, and as time goes on, more resources are required to mine more Bitcoin. That's going to drive the price up, over time, because people are going to have to continue to put more money into it. But I also think there's a competing force in the market, which is that people will want to spend less money to mine this valuable thing, so they will go to wherever it's cheaper. So you do see some operations going to places where you can, destroy the environment by, using coal power to farm things. You also see people, setting up server farms in very cold places, so they don't have to invest in cooling systems, and they can kind of use the natural climate of the area in order to help cool their mining farms. So I think that there's natural pressure within the industry to reduce costs, and the environmental costs are huge. I think that's why we need to rely on federal governments to have better environmental protections and laws, rather than kind of pointing the finger at a specific industry. And it also bothers me when I hear people blaming Bitcoin and talking about cryptocurrencies and the environmental destruction of these tools, because I say, you'll hear people say, "Oh, Bitcoin, uses the same amount of energy as Argentina in a year." I think there was a Cambridge study released that compared it to the energy usage of like Jordan. And the question I have is, well, like, how many Argentinas is appropriate for,
It bugs
you
me
know,
too.
cryptocurrency? How many Argentinas should the travel industry be allowed to be allowed to generate? How many Argentinas should the traditional fiat currency banking system be allowed to consume? And so, talking about these things in a void, yeah, it sounds terrible that Bitcoin uses as much energy as Argentina in a year. And we've got to do something to stop that. But I think you can't just attack Bitcoin. You have to say, let's take a holistic view at all of our society's activities. Let's kind of do a cost benefit analysis. Hopefully, and I like cryptocurrencies because I truly believe in the potential. I don't know if we'll get there, but the potential is there to replace or greatly augment fiat currencies. How many bankers do we need flying from London to New York for meetings? That's eliminated when people are using cryptocurrencies, when it's decentralized. So you have to also factor in the fact that there are probably going to be efficiency gains as new technology is replacing old inefficient systems.
Yeah, totally. And like I said at the beginning, this is a bit of a shorter episode too. So unfortunately, as we're like just getting started, I feel like we're gonna just start winding down too. I want to be clear, especially about a topic as contentious as cryptocurrencies, that like the views in this discussion are mine and Dayton. So they're not necessarily like hardened official fight for the future stances on any of this stuff. This is just sort of a casual conversation. And if you do have any info or any criticism or anything that you'd like to like share with us about this, you can feel free to email me at joe@fightforthefuture.org, because like I said, these are my takes and Dayton's takes on this stuff, not necessarily like Fight's official stance on this. But as we wind down, I just want to remind folks, if you like this content, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, like the video as well, that really helps. And we're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if you wanted to just listen to the podcast version, you can do it there. All the links that I was referencing are in the description, and you can check them out there. We will be back next week on Friday at 1 p.m. With a normal episode. There's a chance that we've also got something going on Thursday, but we will update that in socials and email. So just make sure that you're subscribed to our email list and following us on Twitter and stuff like that. But before we close out, Dayton, was there anything else that you wanted to mention before we go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great for you to remind people these are our opinions, and as we talked about just a few minutes ago, we're open to having our opinions change. We want to have a dialogue. We want to learn more. We want to hear what other people have to say. Email us, hit us up on Twitter, give us more information. And I think what I try to do is always be open to understanding more of these issues we're discussing. You probably hear me hedge a lot during these interviews because I don't want to overcommit. A lot of these things, topics like cryptocurrency regulation, there's a lot to be done. There are lots of different ways I can see it playing out. And I think it's a very healthy and positive thing to be able to consider a lot of these different perspectives that we're talking about. So, definitely concerned about the energy consumption of cryptocurrencies. Definitely also want to think about how other industries that I participate in consume energy and balance all these things out. So I think it's just really important for me to stay open, and I hope the people who are listening to our conversations are also staying open and getting excited about these things the same way we are.
I was muted. Thank you, Dayton. Thanks for joining. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you again next week. But in the meantime, take care and have a great weekend.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.